What if everything that we were taught about reality was wrong? And what if there was actually an entirely new way to live, an entirely new way to create our reality? One where we aren't the victims to our genes, to our circumstances, to our past, but instead we can override those things and create our own reality. Because I found an amazing interview that was many years old with Dr. Bruce Lipton and Joe Rogan. This is an original Joe Rogan podcast from a long time ago. It's not even on video. And I'm going to share with you some of the things that everybody's missed, because this is not a widely known interview because it was so long ago. I'm going to share with you exactly the science behind how you create your reality. Dr. Bruce Lipton was a cell biologist who found that everything that he was teaching about human biology was actually wrong. And there was something else that was creating reality. It wasn't our genes. And this something else is actually the key for you attracting the money that you want, manifesting your soulmate, creating your dream reality. And very few people are aware of what's actually happening. And in this video, you're going to find out how to use it and what it is.
If that's our intention, then why do we do so much destructive shit? Because there's conscious intention, conscious mind, and this is the big issue that people have to understand. The mind has two parts. There's a conscious part and a subconscious part. The conscious part is you, your personal identity. It's creative. It has your wishes and desires. The subconscious part is like a record playback mechanism. It learns experiences, push the button, plays the experiences back. Okay, so now I say, well, okay, our personal drive is our conscious wish and desire. And then I'm going to tell you a fact, and this is a freaky fact. Science has shown that we only run our lives 5% of the time with our conscious mind, our creative mind, the mind with your wishes and what you want out of life. 95% of our life comes from the subconscious automated programs that play when we don't even pay attention. You can drive the car without paying attention. It's an automatic program. You can do your job without paying attention. It's an automatic program. So why is it important? Only 5% of our life comes from what we want. 95% comes from the subconscious programs. And then here's the catch. As we mentioned earlier, the first 6 years, you are downloading behavior from your environment. And those become your fundamental programs. You watch your parents, your family, your community. And this is why I said the church saw that. And they said, give me the first 6 years, whatever program I put in that 6 years will become the fundamental programs in the subconscious mind.
The operating system.
That's the basic operating system. And 95% of your life is going to play from that program.
Now, the funny thing about this is we pretty much only learn this the hard way. Like for me, I had no idea about any of this. And once I did, it changed my life. But first, what happened was as an adult, when I started to have dreams and goals, and here's what I want to do with my life and my career, what happened was I didn't get the success that I wanted. And I thought I was doing all the right things. And you might feel like that too. You are doing all the right things. But as he said, that's the conscious, and that's only responsible for 5% of our life. So here I am thinking I'm doing everything right. Nothing was happening. And it wasn't until I understood how my subconscious was actually creating my reality that I always thought I was doing consciously. I thought, well, I guess I just have to work harder. I guess I need a different strategy. I guess I have to talk different. I guess I have to dress different. I guess at the time I had long hair and I was really young and I wanted to be a published author. So I thought, well, maybe I'm supposed to wear a suit and that'll cancel out the fact that I have long hair and I'm really young. And it wasn't until I asked myself, how was I programmed? How did my environment program me? And I grew up in a very competitive family. My dad was drafted in Major League Baseball in the 10th round, and he played full scholarship at USC, and my grandpa was a starter in baseball and football at USC. Everyone in my family, college sports and all these things. So as a kid, I learned through my environment that you become validated once you achieve things, once you give it your all, once you get the validation, once you get the success, then you succeed, then you're worthy. And I had awesome parents, I had an awesome upbringing, but it's one of the products of when you're in a hyper competitive academic, or for me, it was athletic. I was the opposite of hyper academic. So then as an adult, when I had my dreams, and my dream was to become a big millionaire published author, well, I thought I needed the subconsciously, that I needed the publishers to say yes to me, to validate me, to give me a book deal, and then I'd be successful. So I'd become worthy. I wouldn't be too young anymore. I wouldn't be just a silly kid. My hair wouldn't be too long anymore. I wouldn't be not ready yet once I got the thing. And this was all subconscious that I didn't know what was happening. So in order to make the huge jump in my career, I had to identify that. How was I programmed? And then I went to work on myself, that I am good enough. I am worthy of what I want. I don't need that validation. Then what happened was my subconscious was no longer operating from a place of lack, and I was coming from a place of wholeness. And then all of a sudden, I started selling all these copies of my book. I got a TEDx talk. The #1 English publishing company in the world gave me a book contract. But it didn't happen until I found out how my subconscious was keeping me from what I wanted. So for you, it might be around money, it might be around love and relationships, and you don't believe you're worthy of love, or you believe that you can't trust anyone. You may not consciously believe this, but it may have been learned from the environment, from your upbringing. It could be that you'll never make a lot of money. It could be that you won't be successful for a number of reasons. It's like a record player. And the thing that really changed everything for me is once I learned all this, I read Bruce Lipton's first book, Biology of Belief, when I was like 20. And I thought, whoa, why don't I just go to all the hypnotherapists in town, and I'm just going to call them and I'm going to say, hey, I want to be a multimillionaire author, and I'd like you to hypnotize me into being one. So I started calling all them, and I'd go to all their places, and I'd be like, so you're going to hypnotize me that I'm making millions of dollars a year, and my books are translated into all these other languages and all these things like that. And eventually that led to me creating my own hypnosis designed to work a lot better. And it started reprogramming from I'll be validated once I get it, or I don't know if I'm smart enough, or am I too young? And I started programming myself that I give my talents with love. I'm wonderfully blessed financially. And I started putting a new audio recording, so to speak, in my tape recorder, which is my subconscious, a new subconscious dialogue. And you can get my free success hypnosis. It's jakeshypnosis.com. It's pinned to the comments and in the description, or you could open up another tab. It's free. About 1 million people from all over the world have used it. My gift to you, I love to hear all the success stories. People from all over the world got money out of nowhere, you get a new job. I love hearing those stories. Just listen to it for 2-3 minutes a day, in the morning, at night, whenever. It will start to reprogram your subconscious and eliminate those things that you don't know that you have that are actually blocking you from your conscious desire. So you can check that out at jakeshypnosis.com. Now, that all leads us to number 2, which is one of the more strange and darker secrets. And Bruce Lipton explains it perfectly here.
The Jesuits have boasted for 500 years. They said, give me a child until it's 6 or 7, and it will belong to the church for the rest of their lives. What did they know? They already knew that if I get the first 6 years of programming, I own your life. They knew that. They boasted about it. And why is that important? Well, you think that's a minor thing that just would have slipped away in history, that you can control the population by programming the first 6 years of their lives? The thing is, Are you kidding me? That's fundamental to the leadership of whoever's in leadership capacity.
Now, this one is so fascinating because when you look into the science, essentially a child, until they are 6 years old, they're like a sponge. You don't even really have a conscious mind. You kind of start to develop one a little bit when you're 4, 5, 6, but you spend the most amount of time in brainwave states that are similar to deep relaxation and hypnosis and meditative type of states, which means that you're in a state of receptivity to your environment, to the emotions from your environment, to the emotions from your parents that you feel on a subconscious level that are in the general energy field of your home, to the words, habits, behaviors. If you have kids, you may know this, like the first time they say a bad word. I remember the first time my daughter said one, I said, yeah, that sounds like she learned that one from me. Sorry. But in all seriousness, all of this stuff just goes right into our mind. So if you don't have what you want, it's not that you aren't working hard enough. It's not that you aren't worthy of it. It's not that it's not possible. It's not that you don't have enough time. It's not that God doesn't love you. It's not that you have bad luck. It's not that you're cursed. It's not that you have the wrong genetics. It's that there is some subconscious programming in there. And the key is to figure out what it is. And the way that you do this is you just ask yourself, what did I learn about my desires growing up? And if you can't think of what that is, then you go, what was my environment like around my desires? Let's say I wanted more money and I was 40 and the last 10 years, no matter what I do, I can't get ahead. So what was my environment like? Oh, my mom and my dad got divorced. They argued over money a lot. My dad tried to start his own business, but then his business failed. And then he went bankrupt. He actually lost our house because he was so in debt. The creditors came for the house. Then my parents split up, and I was jumping back and forth between houses, and they were always both complaining about money. And so that gives you your answer. You were unintentionally fed the emotions of financial constriction, of fear around money, of scarcity. And this formed not only your beliefs, your emotions, but your entire subconscious programming that then, unless you reprogram it as an adult, then it plays itself out cyclically over and over as a result of our life. Or another example would be for love. I remember one of my good friends, he was when I first met him, he was in bad relationship after bad relationship after bad relationship. And he was frustrated because he's like, how do I attract, the right person? And I was like, well, what's your definition of love? Like, I want to fall in love. Okay, what's your definition? And his definition was that love is pain. Which is like not the best definition to have. I mean, it could be worse. But if love is pain and every relationship you're in is emotionally abusive and you're getting cheated on and they're lying to you and they're taking advantage of you, well, what's causing that? If you don't know the subconscious is causing it, then you say, I am unlovable, or there are no good people out there. There's no one I can trust. See, I'm not good enough. Another example. I might as well give up. I'm just going to marry my cat. Come here, Frankie. Meow. Like, the reality is, without us realizing it, we are the puppet masters of ourselves and of our own lives, and it's happening from core subconscious. So once he reversed that and he was like, became aware of it, first of all, wow, I believe love is pain. Like, it's not like he was sitting around all day detailing his philosophy. That just came out of him because it's buried in the subconscious, below conscious. Once he became aware of it, then he was free of it. So you can go through the list with friendships, with money, with investments. Some people make decent money, but they're always broke and they're in credit card debt because maybe that their parents always spent all the money that they had. And they said, life's short. You just got to enjoy it. Money's not very important. So you always spend it. But then what happens is you're constantly in debt. So then at the end of the day, you're never free. You're always in emotional servitude and debt-based servitude that stops you from ever being free. And it comes from a core belief in childhood from watching the adults around you spend everything and say, money's not that important. You only live once, man. And it sounds harmless, but it might be the thing that is keeping you in debt. You see what I'm saying here? So if you're with me here so far, you can hit the like button on it. Give me a comment down below that says I'm with you, Jake. And let's move on to number 3. And just remember, make sure you get my free success hypnosis. It's jakeshypnosis.com. It's going to do the process for you. It's going to reprogram it for you. So you can check that out for free.
So who are we? Whatever we've been programmed to be. What do you want to be? Not necessarily the program, but when you're trying to exercise your conscious mind, like positive thinking, conscious mind, 5% of the time.
Because it's dealing with so much unconscious
because it's flitting
program.
around. It's thinking about the future. It's thinking about the past.
So what do you propose? Do you propose that maybe like a standard of thinking be established, or a way of thinking where you teach kids in school how to overcome like these subconscious thoughts and how to overcome?
It is possible.
You can.
Oh, absolutely.
Can.
You can reprogram these. If you couldn't, this would be a crappy world, because I say, well, that just like genes. Oh, you're stuck with your programs your whole life. Sorry. No. You can change your programs and change your life virtually instantaneously. But you have to know what you're trying to do. And that's the whole idea. If nobody knows, A, that they're even behaving from their unconscious programs, they don't even believe that. They think, oh, I'm running my life with my intentions and my wishes. It's like what they're thinking. And I say that's 5%.
Now, once we realize all this, that the problem with you not having what you want isn't that you aren't working hard enough. It's not that you don't have the right strategy, the right mentor, the right resources, the right genetics, that you did something bad in the past. None of that. That's not why. It's the subconscious. And then out of that, once we are aware of how reality really works and why we are getting the results that we are getting in our life, the next question is, how do we actually shift reality? And as Bruce Lipton points out here, it really comes down to one big question.
So who are we? Whatever we've been programmed to be. What do you want to be? Not necessarily the program, but when you're trying to exercise your conscious mind, like positive thinking, conscious mind, 5% of the time.
Because it's dealing with so much unconscious
because it's flitting
program.
around. It's thinking about the future. It's thinking about the past.
So what do you propose? Do you propose that maybe like a standard of thinking be established, or a way of thinking where you teach kids in school how to overcome like these subconscious thoughts and how to overcome?
It is possible.
You can.
Oh, absolutely.
Can.
You can reprogram these. If you couldn't, this would be a crappy world, because I say, well, that just like genes. Oh, you're stuck with your programs your whole life. Sorry. No. You can change your programs and change your life virtually instantaneously. But you have to know what you're trying to do. And that's the whole idea. If nobody knows, A, that they're even behaving from their unconscious programs, they don't even believe that. They think, oh, I'm running my life with my intentions and my wishes. It's like what they're thinking. And I say that's 5%.
So did you catch the question? It was, so what do you want to be? So who do you want to be? When you ask yourself that question, you move out of a reactionary way of living where you don't believe that you create your reality. But instead, when you ask yourself, what do I want to be? Who do I want to be? That gives you the space for your conscious mind, which only controls 5% of your life, but it gives you the space for your conscious mind to now focus its attention on a new intention, which is Who do you want to be? What do you really want? What do you want to be? And when your conscious mind is focused on that instead of your current reality, you send a new feedback mechanism to the subconscious mind. Because while the conscious mind only controls 5% of your life, your conscious mind gives the instruction manual to your subconscious mind for what software to operate the subconscious and ultimately control 95% of your life. And so what I did was really simple. I had to totally rebuild my self-identity, how I identified myself, the story that I told about myself. I was no longer going to be Jake, who just dropped out of college and I have long hair and I'm too young and I don't know if I'm going to be successful writing books because all the publishers have said no, and I don't know if I'm smart enough because I never really did good in school. That wasn't me anymore. I created a new me, and I did a technique, a hypnotic self-identity change, where every single day what I would do in the present tense is describe the answer to that question. Who do I want to be? What do I really want? What do I want to be? And I'd write in the present tense exactly who I was going to be. In the present tense only, because the subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's not real. So by consciously focusing on the answer to that question, what do you want to be? Who do you want to be? What do you want your life to be? When you consciously focus on that and you write that down, you put yourself in a trance where you're able to communicate with the subconscious mind. So I would write over and over about how I was a millionaire author, I was published in other languages, my books were getting translated all over the world, all these types of things like that that were at the time ridiculous. But every single one of those things ended up happening. So what I invite you to do is for 5 to 10 minutes, you pull out a pen and pad and you write at the top, who do I want to be? What do I want to be? What do I really want? And then in the present tense, you answer that question. But the important thing is not to overthink it. Just allow yourself to write. Like, what does your dream house look like? What does it feel like? What is your dream relationship like? Detail it in minute detail. Allow yourself to go there. Now that you know that you are the creator of your reality, allow yourself to go there. You have to give yourself the mental permission to go to a deeper level. We do not give ourselves the permission to actually get into our imagination. And imagination is the steering wheel of free will. Imagination is the cornerstone of freedom. Imagination is the cornerstone of your own sovereignty. And if you do not give yourself permission to go into your imagination, then as a result of not giving yourself permission, you will live at effect as a servant, as a slave to the world around you. But if you go into your imagination consciously, instead, you can send a new signal to the subconscious mind. So you write this out. What does it look like, sound like, feel like, the money, the love, the health, whatever it is? And what I do while I'm doing this is I play my success hypnosis audio in the background just to kind of put myself into that trance more, into that state more. And the last thing that I do when I finish is I read it out loud. Just takes a minute. I don't read it to myself in my head. I read it out loud. And the reason I read it out loud is because your cells respond to the environment. And when you are speaking out loud, you are actually shifting the environment. You are embedding the frequency of what you just described into the cells of your body. You are putting it deeper into your conscious mind, which is allowing the signal to get deeper into your subconscious mind. And I just want to remind you what Dr. Bruce Lipton points out, that the science is already settled around this. We already know that all matter, atoms, they aren't particles, they aren't matter, they aren't solid, they're just energy. We already know now that cells, which is all we are, we're a community of 70 trillion cells. The science has already shown that cells respond to their environment. And being that you have a conscious mind and you have imagination, you can control and dictate the environment, the feedback to your cells. And we know that you can reprogram your subconscious mind, and you don't have to live with the programs that have been dragging you down for your entire life. So I hope this video speaks to you. If it does, listen to it again through. Allow it to get deeper into the subconscious. Give me a comment down below that says I'm worthy of what I desire. And if you haven't yet, make sure you get my free success hypnosis. It's jakeshypnosis.com. It's pinned to the comments and in the description right there down below. You can click here to watch another video.